The goal right now is to excavate fully the parts that will be destroyed, but preserve the rest for future archaeologists. It has the potential to tell us a lot about the people who lived and worked in this structure over a very long period.
We're getting hundreds, literally hundreds of artifacts spanning throughout the 18th century up through the early 20th century. We can associate those with different major activities on the site.
I'm just really excited about what we're going to learn, because we are not done understanding this history of the school, the history of Black education. We are not done learning the history of this area, and we are certainly not done learning the history of this country.